Que lo que, mi gente? Was good, my peoples? We back at it again for another one. This quick little video. This is pre Atlanta game, pre the final five games of the NBA season for 2025-2026, prior to us being into the playoffs. If you're watching this, you understand that the Knicks right now are in third. Cleveland's about a game and a half behind us. Boston's 2 games in front of us right now. There's a lot of jockeying for positions right now of people of other teams trying to get involved and get into the race. So we can be as far as high as 2 to as low as 6. I doubt it. Even actually, Cleveland's maybe a couple of farther games behind us than I would like to think on there. But we definitely got the option to hold third and exceed. This, to me, right now, the playoffs begins tonight. Tonight, we got the Atlanta Hawks. The playoff is tonight. However you want to think about it, we got the toughest schedule. We've had 2 games against Memphis and Chicago. Obviously, those were, for the most part, laydowns. No disrespect to them. Young teams trying. They played aggressive to the best of their abilities. And yes, they were laydown teams. Yes, they were teams that we should have won. But I saw a few things. I saw a few things that, even though they were dominant, you saw things that Mike Brown was working on and what we should be using moving forward. The lineups in Chicago, I see what you did, Mike Brown. The lineups in Chicago were really good. There was a couple of, if you caught it, they were there, they were good. Nonetheless, I'm thinking playoff starts tonight. Tonight, we have to start with defense. In the Chicago game, you saw Brunson with a double-double, 10 assists. I think it was 15 or 17 points, something like that. And in the first half, in 2 quarters, he had 10 assists. So just like New Knicks has been saying, maybe they exaggerated. He should be averaging 20-25. It's possible. It's definitely possible. He already had 3 lobs to Mitch, super easy dunks. He's done it a couple of times. You're seeing he's building that chemistry there. Maybe a year late, but it's better late than never. So the fact that he's finding that rhythm is good. You're seeing OG find Mitchell Robinson. You're seeing McCall and Josh looking for Mitchell Robinson. So you can see that's a point of emphasis that Mike Brown's been trying to implement. They're finally getting around to it. Again, better late than never. A couple of games in the season. Mitchell Robinson also had a double-double before halftime. So is it possible for him to get double-doubles? That's why in the beginning of the year I said he should average a low double-double, maybe 10 and 10. I definitely thought that was doable. Again, better late than never. He's fully healthy. The squad is fully healthy, which is phenomenal. Perfect timing. So Mitchell Robinson getting a double-double, definitely know it's possible. Brunson as well getting double-digit assists. Obviously, definitely know it's possible. And then movement. That's it, something that we had low turnovers. I think we only had 3 turnovers in the first half. So in 2 quarters, we only had 3 turnovers. So all these things that we've been fumbling and bumbling, as Clyde would say, they're attainable. It's just us playing sloppy basketball, not having our head in the game and being focused from the beginning and ready from the beginning. We launched out with 48 points in the first quarter. So we broke our record. So we were able to get that. That means we can be focused in the first quarter. We have plenty of first quarters that we've had minimum at least 30. Anytime we start at 30, we're good. Anytime we have the fourth quarter where we dominate, if we're leading in the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're still 18-1. So those are the 2 goals: starting the first quarter and obviously being ahead in the fourth quarter. Obviously, third quarters are championship quarters of how you start the third. It's important. So that's what we're looking for today. So you saw the Jalen Brunson, also Mitchell Robinson. So those are obviously doable. Those, just on those 2 alone, you should be able to dominate on the other teams. So we saw that available on there. Josh Hart. We also saw Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby bringing up the ball. So they're setting up the pace. So you saw that again. If you guys want to replay that Chicago game, go look at it. You also saw awareness from Jalen Brunson. The key to being aware for Jalen Brunson is he would bring it up, and I'm telling you, it's 3 seconds. They gave him a time limit. He has 3 seconds, maybe 4, to make a decision. If he doesn't have the move or the advantage for him where he's not double teamed and he has a one-on-one situation within those 4 seconds, to try to make a move, see if he can get to a spot that he likes. If he can't get to a spot, he sprayed the ball, if you look in Chicago. So if he can't get to a spot or a double team comes, You saw him get rid of the ball within 4 seconds. I'm telling you, it was really about 3 seconds, but in a couple of plays, it was 4 seconds. And then there's ending of the quarters is where you saw him doing the Brunson, 30 seconds left in the game. All right, that's where you can be you. Dribble the ball, air out of the ball, whatever you got to do, get your shot, feel good, get Mr. Clutch. That's what you're doing. So all the things we've been asking for, they did in the Chicago game. Easy. And that's something that they can build off. Now, if they veer away from this, is where the problem lies. However, everybody healthy. I think everybody they've had the conversation. Whatever teammate, whatever it was, they had it. They showed that they can do it. Now they got to apply that with good teams, right? So it's being aggressive from the jump, being into the game aware. If you look at the Chicago game as well, Jalen Brunson played phenomenal defense. He was aggressive. He was up on the defender, no hands. If you look at it, he played phenomenal defense. So anyone talking about that Jalen Brunson can't defend, you're not watching the game. And I get it. For his stature, he's limited. For his size, he's limited on what he can do. But he can be in their airspace. He can close out on defense. He was doing good on switch defense, great on help defense. So watch that game again because you guys don't start talking about the playoffs and he's terrible in trades if you're not really watching the players. The players are making all the right efforts. Karl Anthony Towns did it in the game in Memphis, a triple double, step in the game. The last 20 games, I want to say, you haven't heard of Cat getting in foul trouble, but maybe 1 or 2 games, and that was with Scott Foster. You know what I mean? And there was a couple in the Tim Ford game. So some of those we can kind of expect it, but the referees either they got the notice, Mike Brown or the team has been sending videos to them to watch that they've been given Karl Anthony Towns the advantage as of later in the games where he's able to play and drive and they're not really calling the foul so much on him or they're calling the fouls for him as well. So you've seen some of that change. Karl Anthony Towns getting a triple-double is a secret weapon. And it shouldn't be a secret. This is something that Mike Brown should have known from the get-go. Mike Brown has to use Cat in some possession. Again, it's sporadic. It's how he uses them. He should have some of these plays set where, again, he should be playing Jalen Brunson and Cat off of each other. So I'm looking to see that in the Atlanta game. Maybe they play for 4 or 5 minutes together as a starting unit. And if for some reason that starting unit, Mike Brown has 5 minutes to figure it out, or the starters have 5 minutes to figure it out. In those first 5 minutes, if they're not gelling, they're not getting that rhythm going, they're sluggish on defense, they're starting off slow, it's up to Mike Brown to pull them right there at that point. Mike Brown will pull them, make the switches, make the right rotations, get other players involved, more than likely move OG and Cat to the bench. Have Brunson play with a bunch of defenders like he did in that Chicago game with Mikal Bridges, Sohan, Mitch, especially with Mitch. Mitch, that's going to help him clear up. You got Mitch, he had Clarkson as a shooter, but now you got Shamet and Deuce. Oh, man, we got him back. So it's probably going to be Shamet, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce, and maybe Josh Hart and Bridges, something like that. Well, that order similar for when he takes him out. When he makes that substitution, you'll see that where you get shooting and spacing, clears it up for Brunson and Mitchell. So you'll see Shamet in a corner, Deuce, Josh as well, you know what I'm saying, driving and whatever. And, and then you're going to have also Mitchell Robinson. So you have Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart, for rebounding and fast breaks. And then you're going to have the shooters, Deuce and Shamet. So I saw him do that in Chicago. It was really good. So that's a Brunson helper when they separate. Then you switch them, and then you're going to get Cat. You're going to get, I think he did it with Sohan on there. You're going to have some of the other players. Clarkson, he did with Clarkson. Jose Alvarado. And then he has a different lineup and slashes. So with OG slashing, dunking threes, he's helping Cat. There's the spacers and shooters. And then you're going to have either Clarkson, who's another shooter, also a slasher, and then Jose Alvarado. And then maybe like a Jeremy Sohan, someone else to rebound, which I saw some of that. Or you're talking about Mo. So that lineup there is also pretty crazy. And when we had that, we've gone on 10-0 runs. That's the time that we were leading in that game that Cat made the run. And then I think Mike Brown pulled him. I don't know whether he was pulling because he didn't want to show his hand, but we see it. Anyway, so that's what I think. That's what I think should be happening for these next 5 games and into the playoffs. Those type of rotations within these next 5 games, besides the starting 5, and I think that's what you're going to see moving forward as far as our depth. And that combination there is lethal. And then when you mix in Jeremy Sohan, in that Jeremy Sohan game, if you watch, when he played against Chicago, he had 8 rebounds, he had a block, 2 steals. He was phenomenal. He pushed the pace, he drove the ball. I think Mike Brown should, you got to see him. Jeremy Sohan has got to get a run. He did also use a lineup with Jeremy Sohan and Mo Diawara. That was super dope. And I was saying that before. That's going to be the OG Mikal Bridges of our future. They're seeing that ahead of time. They're tall, they're lanky. On teams like tonight, this is where Mike Brown has to do mismatches on playing teams. In tonight's game, everybody in Atlanta is at least 6'9", 6'10", 6'11". Everybody, the whole lineup. I went through with them special. Everybody's 6'10" plus. So this is a tall team, a big team. They don't have a lot of 7-footers. I don't think they have any 7-footers, if I'm mistaken. Maybe one. But everybody else is about 6'10". So this is where size would be important for these type of players. So besides our 5 players, you can play a Clarkson, who's a shooter and a spacer of him, and that's what I'm saying. Depending on how we're spacing the floors, if you can get Shamit and Deuce to go off and hit threes and space that floor to make those taller guys come out and not double Brunson, that'll help out. But tonight would also help on when you have the Sohans, the Mo Diawara. That's going to help us tonight tremendously. Defenders, presence, that's going to be very good. That'll help out Cat as well. So, again, on times that there's Cats, or you have taller players with Cat that can shoot, defend, OG, that's a crazy lineup, too. You got Sohan, Diawara, and OG, and Cat, and all of them are at least 6'9" plus. So that's our big lineup, basically, defensively. Super dope. And even with Kolek in that combination, you get Kolek is an X factor in this playoffs. Mark it down. And I'm going everywhere, but I'm just trying to say, all that to say is the playoffs is today, in my opinion, of how we start. It starts with Atlanta with a big team. And Atlanta, we got to take this game serious right off the bat and beat them. This is a possible matchup for playoffs. So huge implications on this whole week. Everybody we play this week could be a possible matchup for the playoffs. So you got to show right off the bat that there's no weakness on there, and they should be worried going further. That's why I think the Knicks will win the next 5 games. I think we should, healthy. There's no reason why we shouldn't go on a run and wake up the NBA and let everybody know we here. You know what I'm saying? We here. The Knicks are here. And I think it's definitely possible to do. And you start with Atlanta. Atlanta's got to be a defensive game. Tonight has to be a defensive game. We did good in these last couple of games offensively. Mike Brown has had 2 games to get ready for this game. And then after this game, he's going to have 2 games to get ready for that Boston-Toronto game. Toronto's not so much. We beat them 11 straight. And yes, they're playing, but we should beat Toronto on that second back-to-back. You can let the bench players play after the starters do what they got to do the first 3 quarters. But the Boston game and Atlanta game, NFA, no fucking around, all right? So this is where we got to come aggressive, play these guys, and then be right off the bat. So Atlanta, I'm looking for like a 112, 101, 112, 108, something like that. I would like to hold them at around 100. It has to be a defensive presence. I think we could definitely do it. Tonight has to be a game where we put our seal on it. This would be a good win for us. Yes, we had the other 2 against boo-boo teams, but against our playoff matchups, we got to win these next couple of games. It may not be important to these other teams, but we got to show it right off the bat. We got to take off any motivation, any highs that they could ride off and think that they could build off. No more building their names off our back. So this has got to be aggressive from the bat. We're going to be going live to see if I hit on any of these and where we stand. I'm trying to be positive for Mike Brown. I got no doubt on our Knicks. I'm totally confident what we can. I think we can run through and mollywop teams as we should. If we play the way I'm thinking we should, and the lineups I showed you that I've seen from Mike Brown, if he gets these with 100% healthy, there should be no excuses now for Mike Brown. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's available. Everyone's peaking, especially, even our second and bench units. No one's really struggling. Clarkson is playing phenomenal defense. So it should be just pick your poison, basically, is what we're looking at. Pick your poison. Tonight, I would like for him to be smart and use size against them. Unless our small lineup's working and we're beating them to the punch, that's one thing. But Atlanta, they're fast, they're young, they're athletic, and they're tall. So you would probably want to be using size. Jeremy Sohan, young, tall, aggressive defender. Mo Diawara, young, tall, aggressive defender. You know what I'm saying? Mitchell Robinson. You want to start using the size and mismatches because we're going to see some of this. We would need to see. I would like to see how our big lineup does with Atlanta, which would match up similarly to a Detroit. So you would want to see that early. I would want to see that today before you try tinkering in the playoffs. So tonight would be a great advantage to see them against an Atlanta, to see how our bigger players play against a equally sized team. A Detroit. Atlanta gives us that good matchup because Detroit's the same way. They're taller, the bigger team. They're fast, they're aggressive and defensive. This will be a good matchup to see. So we'll talk to you guys. We'll see. Go on the live tonight. We're going live tonight. Every final game for the remainder of the year, we're going live after the game. Watch that. You like the takes that we got? Come laugh a little. Come joke a little. We're going to have a little bit of fun. But that's the take for tonight. It's the Organic Fanatics. We original. You know what I'm saying? This is how we do. Yer.